This is the first mosque that was established by Prophet Muhammad, allegedly. It's Qibba Mosque in Saudi Arabia. Behind me on the wall, you see the name of God decorating the mosque. And not too far off, you see the name of the blessed Prophet Muhammad, also decorating the mosque of God. That's Sunnah, bro. Sunnah. But maybe you want to prostrate. You're welcomed with the nice emblem of Saudi Arabia right here, where you need to put your head. That's Sunnah, akhi. Maybe you want to read the Quran. So you're also welcomed with the name of their king on the Holy Quran. Sunnah, akhi, obey the ruler. So I don't know what your religion is about, but it's definitely not what Prophet Muhammad gave you. And the other thing is, if you want to tell me that you don't know what Islam is without telling me that you don't know what Islam is, you write statements like this. It's the first established mosque in Islam. So Abraham was not a Muslim then, but that's not the worst part.
Then you come to Masjid Quba and then you pray 2 rak'at sunnah. You get the same reward as if you've done a whole umrah.
So why should I go umrah? I should just go pray the 2 rak'ats as you tell me, and then that will give me the same reward as umrah, because that's very fair and just.
So make sure to come here, because it's actually the first mosque ever built in Islam. It's the oldest mosque.
So the first house that was put for the people is not the oldest mosque in Islam. Excellent.
And this is the beauty of Islamic knowledge.
Sunnah! This is the first mosque. So behind me, this is the graveyard where most of the Sahabis have been buried. It's called Hab'at al-Baqiyah. So here are some instructions on what you can and what you cannot do in the graveyard. But funny enough, they have a hadith here saying that how you give salam to the people in the graveyard. But then if you look below it, it says it's not permissible for women to enter graveyard. Yet this hadith in Muslim 102 is narrated by Aisha. So how did that woman knew what the Prophet said inside the graveyard? I don't know. Make it make sense. So behind me, this is the graveyard where most of the... I said, why is Hafs a weak... So behind me, this... I said, why is Hafs a weak hadith narrator while he is a Quran narrator? So we take Quran from Hafs, but we don't take his hadith. So it's not the same people giving us hadith and the Quran.
No problem. He's weak. Remove him. We've got Shu'bah.
Are you sick in the mind? Are you that intellectually enslaved and molested by Bukhari? Are you that subservient to your masters yet you don't even know your own books? Don't you know not only Hafs but Shu'bah is a weak hadith narrator just like his teacher Asim. He's also considered a weak hadith narrator. And then you give us this isnad because that's the only way that you can prove that the Quran is from God, not by its content. You are just like those narrators, weak. You're weak in the mind. You cannot memorize the truth. You're not a computer like the first generation or the second or the third. You're like the 4th generation that lost it all. You're just one of those cowards that run away when they're confronted. Little boy, run to your masters. Run and take your little dog with you.
We become thugs with the thugs, you know.
No, you don't.
Don't ever come and speak to me like that again. You
You're scared of the police?
I'll put you in your place. Come here and speak to me like that in person.
Oh, is that so?
And bring your dad as well, and I'll put you both in your place. You and your father.
Then again, this same guy went on in one of his videos and he says
you can be guided by the Quran alone. It can guide you straight to faith. No doubt about it.
Hey Sunnis, I really need you to pay attention. We're going to talk about your most authentic hadith or mutawatir hadith. Did you know there's some significant errors in some of those?
It says that the Prophet ﷺ has said that Allah the Almighty descends to our worldly heaven, our worldly sky, every night during the last 1/3 of the night. Is there any mustaghfir seeking forgiveness so that I shall forgive him his sins?
We already know that the door of forgiveness with God is always open at any hour, unless if he decides otherwise. But the issue here is that we know that the world is a globe, so it's always the last third of the night somewhere in the world. So does that mean that God is constantly going up and down, or is God always at the lowest sky or the lowest heaven? But what about the sun?
Do you know where the sun goes? The Prophet ﷺ said its set place under the throne of Allah falls down in prostration until it is said to it, rise.
But yet the sun is always shining somewhere in the world because again, we have a globe earth. But what about the hadith?
The Prophet said, fever is from the heat of hell.
But the problem is the Quran makes it very clear that hell is kindled on the day of judgment, so there is no heat to hell right now. But what I really want you to consider that if the Quran had errors like these or contradictions, would anyone really believe it? Would it be from God?
Your question is disturbing.
Bro, you make me disgusting. Don't you know that God is capable of all things? Oh, if that's your reasoning, why do you get mad at Christians when they say that 3 can equal 1 because God can make it happen? I think logic is a problem with Sunnism. Hey Sunnis, I really need you to pay attention. We're going to talk about your most...
Again, like, I want to ask this guy a question. Like, how do you do that with if you only follow the Quran? Like, where are the statements of the Prophet in the Quran?
I'm about to end this man's whole career.
قل That's what God ordered the Prophet to do. Say, أَفَغَيْرَ اللَّهِ تَأْمُرُونِي أَعْبُدُ أَيُّهَا الجَّاهِلُونَ. So what would the statement of the Prophet be other than what God told him to say? Because he's obviously God's messenger. So obey the messenger.
And this is why you need the hadith, because without the hadith, you cannot follow the Prophet. And if you cannot follow the Prophet, you cannot follow the Quran.
Isn't it awesome that when people are arguing that the Quran is not enough, think that they're right? Hey, is the Quran sufficient? Yes. So do I need the hadith? Yes. So why is it sufficient?
The Quran is not incomplete without the hadith. The Quran is complete by itself.
Yeah. You shut up, hadith rejector. It's not the same.
Again, like I want to.
Peace, everybody. How you guys doing? Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Now I'm talking to you in Arabic. I hope you guys can hear me well. I'm pretty sure that it sounds like the audio is coming through. Let me know how the quality sounds. Very nice to see everybody. Peace to everybody. Peace, Bessie. This gentleman that I played the short later, he had a question to ask me. Yeah, when I asked him for discussion, he definitely did not want to have a discussion and he ran away. So I don't know how he's asking questions when he doesn't want answers. But anyways, there is this guy here that caught my attention. Snowshin slave. If Quran said it will be preserved and Hafs is the one that was preserved, then your argument is defeated. Do you guys have a problem with listening? I never said that the Hafs is 100% correct. Quran, within it, God said that he is preserving the remembrance, which is found in the Quran. If God said that he was going to preserve the Quran, then the dots and the diacritics will all be there for you and there would be no contention. But God did it in a way so that you and disbelievers would be tested. Is the remembrance preserved? Absolutely. Because even despite these little diacritical differences or the dots, the differences in dots, the remembrance is exactly the same. The things that you need to accomplish will not be changed. So no, Hafs is not preserving the Quran, nor did God need Hafs to preserve the Quran. In fact, Hafs did not preserve the Quran or was part of the preservation of the Quran. Hafs was there as a necessity because people had way too many permutations when it came down to the recitation. So they had to standardize it. So you have people like Asim who had his standard way of reading the Quran where he would not permutate things like Malaka or Malik, right? So he would have a single way of reading it. And then he taught two people which did have their own little permutations. So if it's Hafs an Asim or Shu'ba an Asim, so was Asim teaching Shu'ba something and he was teaching Hafs something else? Because the truth is you guys are unaware of your own history. If you actually take the time and spend it in your own books, you'll find these contradictions that push people away from the religion or push them away from learning these kind of things because they say, oh, I don't have the ability to understand these lies, so I just don't want to study it and I'm just going to accept it so I don't become an apostate. And now we've clearly seen because of these Western academics that the Quran has been preserved way before Hafs and As and all these names that you guys love to throw at us as if they were the ones who preserved the Quran. Now, very simple question for all you doubters. It's just an easy question. You guys should have no problem answering it. So when the people were around Prophet Muhammad and he was reciting the Quran to them, why did they believe that the Quran was from God? What was their proof other than the content? There was no isnad. There was no chain of narrations. It was the words themselves that proved that it was from God. So if you guys need to go around and say, well, how do you know that the Quran is from God now? Or how do you know that the Quran is not altered? You are automatically removing yourself away from faith and certainty when you ask those questions because you yourself don't doubt it, right? But if you truly believe that it's from God because a man told you so, then you have truly absolutely no idea what the Quran states. So your questions, when you bring them forth to us, you think it's a catch, but unfortunately it shows your lack of certainty because it shows your lack of genuinity or your ability to appreciate the word of God. If 10 out of 10 things in the book of God is accurate and it's explaining to me
perfectly how the human thinks and how the sunnah, the law, the tradition of God is, and how God treats the humans and what's going to happen on the day of judgment. And I could see that it's all correct and concise and there's no contradiction. Why would I sit here and doubt when God says that we have preserved the remembrance? So the whole book is correct, just like how the people, when it's recited to them, they say, we believe in it. It's the truth from our Lord. We were Muslims before it. So why were they Muslims before it? Because they had a certain way of thinking. It's the creed of Abraham, the way that Abraham thought, the inclinations that Abraham had. They had it as well, because God guides to whom he wants to his light. But the Quran gives you the shortcut to that thinking. So your questions is to give credence to your history, but your history is full of lies. Why are we having somebody in the 70s, 1970s, which is about 1,350 years after the blessed prophet, telling me that these hadith is sahih and this hadith is weak and this hadith is hasan and this hadith is mursal? He came by the name al-Albani. Why are we having these discussions 1400 years after the prophet if the hadith went through the same preservation that the Quran did? How come they did such an excellent job, because it was none of their work, preserving this Quran and making it so very detailed and perfect and nothing's missing out of it, yet they really blundered the hadith? Because it's impossible, I'm telling you, it's impossible for a book or any piece of literature to be preserved the exact same way the Quran was preserved. Because that's the true miracle that came to Prophet Muhammad. There is no book other than the Quran that can be preserved in that manner. Not even your hadith books, not even the gospel or the Torah had that kind of love and care from God, because it's literally a miracle. So when an idiot comes to me and he goes, how was the Quran preserved? How was the sea split? How was Jesus born without a father? How did God resurrect the dead? Like you're just clearly stupid for asking that question. And yeah, I am calling you an idiot, because you want to sit here and prove that we are disbelievers, because we don't want to believe that Prophet Muhammad rode a flying donkey to go meet his God and had to negotiate with his God. And the reason why he went and negotiated with God is because Moses was telling him so. So he met Moses and he met all these prophets. And now all of a sudden, he's the master of all prophets. And you were supposed to be 50 salah, but now it's 5 salah. Yet you're saying that there's no salah in the Quran. God is giving you 3 salahs in the Quran. Or do you want me to sit here and now say that female bondswomen, the people who are your slaves, these females, walk around showing their boobies to everybody? Or, the majority of the inhabitants of hell are going to be women. You want me to go around to say that to people because this is what you're trying to sell me? I'm not buying, and it makes you angry. But the thing that you're selling me, you yourself have not ate, you have not consumed it. I did the unfortunate thing of having to sit there and read a big portion of Bukhari. I hated reading Bukhari because it's such disgusting work that has absolutely nothing to do with religion. He is the man that went on and went around the world, which if you do the calculations, the math, it's impossible for him to learn that many hadiths in the time span he lived. But he learned 300 or 600, because over there we also have a contradiction. Did he learn 300,000 or 600,000 hadiths? Let's take the lower number, 300,000. This man memorized 3,000 hadiths with isnad and everything, and he only gave you 7,000. Imagine God sending you 300,000 verses of the Quran, but only preserving 7,000. What happened to the rest? How's that revelation? Why is it that these hadith that you hold so closely and you love them so much, why can't they cancel the word of God? But yet when you're bringing to me a hadith which is questionable and I give you a verse from God, the words of God, they cannot cancel this nonsense that you keep trying to sell me? Did you see any of the shorts that I put? Are you that dumb in the brain? Are you that blind that you cannot see, that you cannot listen, that you cannot comprehend and reason? People have been lying to you your whole life. People have been lying to you about everything, from your governments to your parents to the people around you to your school to your educators. People have been fed a lie that they keep passing this lie. How do you actually think that in this day and age that these governments that are supposed to represent the Muslim communities, they are really caring for the Muslims? Are they really doing what they can to preserve this religion and propagate the religion and fulfill the word of God? You know that's complete horse malarkey. You know that is not true. So how are you telling me that I need to sit here and accept 1,000 years of government dictations and government manipulations, and government subversion to the religion, that it's all truth just because you're eating the bugs? I'm sitting here eating gold. Do you understand what that is? I'm eating the light of God. That's what I'm consuming in my brain, and that's what I am thinking about. What are you spending your time on other than consuming your heroes, your local heroes right now, whether it's Dawah guy or Dawah man or Muslim skeptic and all these other nonsense people that cannot actually sit and have a proper discussion in regards to the book of God because it scares them. Because when you are shaken to the core by the things that we tell you, the only thing that you want to call us is a disbeliever, and you have nothing to stand on. Because anything that you bring forth to us, if we look into your material deep down and we give it enough care and enough recognition, we see that you're lying even within your own material. You have all this exegesis for the Quran that is contradicting to itself, and you tell us this is what the Prophet gave you. Whatever the Prophet gave you, take it. Well, why you keep thinking that these books that you keep trying to sell me, that it's actually what the Prophet said just because man told you so? Why aren't you comparing it to the book that we need to compare it? But you're so weak in the heart and you're so weak in the mind, and you have all these fundamental problems that when we quote God to you as a proof, to you that's circular reasoning. But when we quote your scholars, that's the proof. This is the problem with your religion. This is the problem with your countries. This is the problem with your mentality. You are what God calls in the book worse than animals. And thank you for the segue to this sermon. How's everyone doing? Thank you for starting the segue, the sermon, in a way for us to truly put you on a pedestal, for you to actually have the recognition and attention you guys so want. Because the only way Sunnism is flourishing in the world is because someone sits there and converts to Sunnism. And to you now, we need to put them up and push them up. Now people are using you. They will go around and say, hey, man, I took my Shahada today. Click like on my video and send me money. Make me famous, because you guys are just a bunch of sheep. Worse, you're just a bunch of weirdos, losers that need recognition from somebody else for you to feel good about your religion. I'm against all of you, all whole billion of you that keep wanting to try to give me lies, and I'm standing tall. I'm standing happy because I've got my Lord, and I know my Lord is guiding me, because none of you can stand in front of me. As God says that when we confront you, you think that you're going to give yourself victory. You turn around and you run, because God told me that's what you're going to do, and I see it, because I'm comparing you to the book of God. As I'm going to say, this sermon today is about the animal inside. So maybe you should sit there and listen for a little bit and realize that you're the one in the error. You're the one who's selling misguidance. You're the one who's eating misguidance. And you simply cannot stand in a discussion, a proper discussion with someone of my caliber or Baba Shuaib's caliber. That's the simple truth. Because yes, you guys go up against Quran alone and all these people that you claim Quranists that read the Quran once or twice and they're still learning the material. That's like a Christian holding a Sunni that just reverted after a year, and then now they're trying to interrogate them, and they're falling because they don't know the material. But someone who has been very experienced with what the book says, or someone who translated the Quran, spent 6 years translating it, you guys crumble very quickly, because whatever example you present to us, God says in the Quran, we have brought you the truth, wa ahsana tafsira, and the best of explanation, and the best of exegesis, and the best of clarifications, whatever word you want to translate it to, we have the best of it. You are like the children of Israel. God gave you quail and manna. You want to go eat the onions and the garlics and all the other things. Yusuf, yeah, descend from where you are. Descend from this caliber of Islam that God gave you, and go eat the Bukhari, and go eat the Muslim, and go eat the Maliki, and go eat Abu Hanbal, and all these people. Someone said a comment, it was so beautiful. It's like, oh, Hafs failed. So now it's like a Pokemon. Hey, Shu'bah, I choose you. That's what Muhammad Hijab does. And then when Shu'bah failed, oh, awesome, I choose you. Oh, if that failed, then, oh, Abu Mas'ud, I choose you. Well, my Pokemon card didn't fail because I don't have a Pokemon card. I don't have any of these monsters in my pocket that I need to pill up as idols to come defend me. I have the book of God. In the book of God, anything I say is getting fulfilled on you, and you're looking like animals to me. You're looking like deaf, dumb, and blind, and you think that they hear you, but they can't hear you. You think that they reason, but they don't reason. This is what God told me about people specifically like you. All right, guys. I appreciate you guys coming. Assalamu alaikum. Woo. Yeah. He wants to pull up my dad, my father. Peace, bro. The Pokemon sect. That's what we should call them. The Pokemon sect. Bukhari, I choose you. So what's in the Quran? What is the Quran? The Quran is following. The Quran is not one of the reads, qira'at. It is the reminder. That's what makes more sense to me. Follow the reminder. So when we are confronted with situations, I don't need to sit and think of the verse verbatim. Do you understand? This is what's the beauty about the Quran. I don't need to sit here and say in my head the verse verbatim. All I have to say, hey, the majority of them won't believe in God except if they become idolaters. Right? I'm assuming, let's assume that I don't speak Arabic. I need to be able to recall what the Quran is telling me. That's literally the reminder. I have a person come to me and ask me a question. I remind myself with what the topics of the Quran is and what the Quran is expressing to me, and I have to say it to you. That is literally what the Quran. It's not about saying the verses verbatim and then you ignoring them and walking on as you primarily do. Thank you, Maggie. Appreciate it. And God protect me and you. Alhamdulillah. God never shames us. You see, like when you're so confident and you're so apt with the Quran, the words just fly off your mouth. God gives you this spirit that you can walk in. You get this confidence that the other man, it doesn't matter if he's the size of a wall, because us as human beings, the things that destroy you, it's not about the physical. Because the lion can destroy all of us. 1 verse 1, the lion can kick all of us, beat us all up. 1 verse 1, a lion will always win. But, except if God wills otherwise. But what I'm trying to explain is that us as humans, the way that we dominate is mentally. Because if someone is dominating physically, that guy is considered an oppressor. But when it comes down, you're not fighting my logic. You're not fighting my wisdom. You're not fighting me. You're fighting a book that has been around for 1400 years, and that kind of mentality has been there since the time of human being. You are, even if you're 90 years old, there is not enough time for you to go and grow in a way to go up against the best mentality that outlasted for thousands of years. We just beat you. Anyways, ladies and gentlemen, peace be upon you. Welcome to another weekly sermon. Because unfortunately, in this day and age, it's very difficult for us to have a community because we don't have these world leaders that are very intuitive in a way that they want to present something to their Lord in the day of judgment. So God gave us an alternative. I sat here a few days ago and I debated with one of the spears, the head of the Dawah guys in the Western world, known as Muhammad Hijab. But God gave me the opportunity to do it in my house while I'm like barefooted and sitting on a couch in my own comfort. I didn't need to go out and have the words fulfilled on him. The words got fulfilled on him by a servant of God who's sitting in their house very far away. So I want to start off the sermon by saying thank you to our Lord who gave us the opportunity for us to truly have the ability to speak about God's religion and express it in a way where we can still be safe, be protected, because this is all by the love and the mercy and the forgiveness and the opportunity that our Lord has provided for us. So thank you, God, for everything that you have been giving us, all the blessings. May you forgive us for all our shortcomings, and may you assist us against all that wants to extinguish your light. Even if none of us exist, your light will always be complete, and you will complete it as you said that you will complete it. Thank you, God, for sending these messages and reminders for us to really hold on to your rope so that we can truly understand what love is, so we can truly find this entity, which is you, that always is on our side and is always answering us. We just have to search for your love. And who am I to teach when you are the one who's teaching? Thank you, God, for the words that you have given me. And thank you, God, for the words that you have wrote down. And thank you, God, for being so just and fair. And thank you, God, for being a good God. Exalted is you above everything that they ascribe to you. And exalted is you above what they associate to you. You are the King. You are the one. there is no deity except you, and we have accepted that, and we have accepted with what you created, and we have accepted on who you are. So please, Lord, accept us for what we are and help us improve so that we can become more satisfactory in your eye, and we please you with the works that you can inspire us to do, because you are the first and the last, and nothing can be done except with your permission. So thank you, God, and alhamdulillah rabbil alameen. All praise to our Lord. If we the merciful, sorry, I do want to prostrate. All right, ladies and gentlemen. So today's topic is about the animal. The topic last week was a little bit in depth. So today we are going to also face a topic that it requires a little bit of reason, requires a little bit of intuition for you to understand what I mean by the animal inside. We are going to start with chapter 50. So let me share this tab and let's talk about chapter 50 is right here, where God is clearly telling us in the Quran that, and I will take questions at the end, just if it's someone who is new to these sermons. And we certainly created the human being, and we know what he whispers to himself, for we are closer to him than the jugular vein. So, and then وَإِذْ يَتَلَقَّى الْمُتَلَقِّيَانِ عَنِ الْيَمِينِ وَعَنِ الشِّمَالِ قَاعِدٌ. Because the two receivers, here, there's a footnote for you, angels, are seated on the right side and on the left side receiving. مَا يَلْفِظُ مِنْ قَوْلٍ إِلَّا لَدَيْهِ رَقِيبٌ عَتِيدٌ. He does not pronounce a word except an observer is prepared near him. وجاءت سكرة الموت بالحق ذلك ما كنت منه تحيد. And the intoxication of death will come in truth, and this is what you have been swerving from. وَنُفِخَ فِي الصُّورِ ذَلِكَ يَوْمُ الْوَعِيدِ. And the horn will be blown, that is the day of the threat, or the day of the promise. وَجَاءَتْ كُلُّ نَفْسٍ مَعَهَا سَائِقٌ وَشَهِيدٌ. And every soul will come along with it, a herder and a witness. Sa'iq, the word that is being used in this verse, can also be understood as a driver. So, sa'iq al-sayyara, the driver of the car. Now, there is something that I want you to be very aware of what the verses are telling you here. That you have an angel on your right, and you have an angel on your left. Okay? So these two angels are recording everything that is being said. These angels, by the creation of God, they know anything that is considered worthy of hell, left side, and they understand everything that is worthy of heaven, the right side. And everything that you say and everything that is being done is being recorded. But the more important thing here is God is telling you about وَمَا يَلْفِظُ. It's not everything that you're thinking, because God is aware of your thoughts and God is going to count your thoughts. But having a thought does not necessitate that you did a sin. Your thought can be sinful, and that is taking away from your impurity if you keep dwelling on that thought. Yes, there are verses where it shows the devil may have the ability to understand or feel what you're thinking, and he can play with your thoughts. But the angels do not record except if you committed to the thought by expressing it. So this is why one of the reasons why I believe when God is telling us to pray to him, not to be loud or not to be short, because we want to commit to what we're saying. So there's a difference between us saying the words or just thinking about the words, because there's more effort that's being done by actually enunciating the words, and there's more effort that's being done, or there's more commitment to what you want to do. Now, but on the day of judgment, you are going to be presented in front of your Lord with one witness and one driver. God tells us about the people who are going to heaven. They're going to receive their books from the right. And the people who are going to be going to hell, they're going to be driven. They're going to be receiving their book from the left, behind them. Okay, so imagine when the word is being fulfilled on somebody, if God is saying something, that the word is being fulfilled, it happens because God has said it. So for example, if God says that someone's hand is going to be raised, or that man's hand is going to be raised, the hand automatically raises and he can't put it down, because that's it. You've lost your control, you've lost your authority, you are now completely under God's control. Now on the day of judgment, if you are receiving your book from behind you on the left, The angel that was sitting on the left, he's the one who's reading the book. And you are listening to what you were doing and what you were saying, and you're visualizing it and you're seeing it, and you're trying to argue, no, that's not what you did, and then your hand will answer, and then your feet will show, and you have this whole video happening in front of you, because the angel on the left, he just keeps talking, and you are being driven into hell, and there's a witness, the other angel saying, yep, he said that, yep, he did that, yep, he did that, but enough is God as a witness. As for the people who are going to heaven, the angel that was sitting on your right that recorded what you were doing as good, he starts to speak that this is what he's doing, and this is what he has accomplished, and this is what he has said, and this is what he has been promoting, and this is what he was doing with his Lord and asking from his Lord. And the other guy on the left is saying, yep, and you are happy hearing what this angel is recording, and these thoughts, he's driving you to heaven. Now, the reason why I'm telling you this, because God is clearly telling us at the beginning of the verses that God is aware of what the human itself is telling itself to do. Waswas, it's like almost these internal thoughts that you have that can take over you. Because yes, people deny the whole concept of evolution, which there are some verses that allude that there is some type of evolution, but Adam and Eve were outside of that scope, and they were created from the mud. I believe it's from the mud of earth, because we share a lot of characteristics with the animals. We have these tendencies that the animals have. Our brain is almost biologically created in a way to go through the animalistic instincts before what we understand as human nature. And the people who are extremely religious or extremely aware of God, there is a very important concept that they have to do, which is to control thyself, control these animal instincts. And then level 2 is to understand to how to be friends with these animal instincts inside you. Because when it comes to training your body or taking care of certain aspects or being healthy, you do need to rely a little bit on that internal mechanism that the animals have of curiosity, or that idea of alphaness, or for you to really be in your element. Because if you look at a tiger, for example, a tiger does not have 16 thoughts of doubt before he's going to do something. He is truly working on the triggers that he is understanding. Just like a bee. A bee is flying, I need a flower. Oh, there's a flower. I'm going for the flower, and it's using its body. There isn't, oh, did God put this flower in front of me for this and this and that and this? No, it's just doing what it's told. It's completely submitted to the triggers that it has, because it understands that these triggers is from its Lord, as God says, that God has everything with it, every creature within its forelock or its forehead. Now, these animals, they teach us important lessons, because we are technically very alike to them, and they consider us, when they see us, they don't be like, oh, well, that's a human and the rest of those are animals. No, this is another creature on God's earth to these animals, and it can get trained by us as we are trained by it, and it can recognize us as we recognize it. Obviously, God gave us a spark and an authority over them, but it does not make us different to a level where we're not able to communicate and understand them. Obviously, the human has the ability to domesticate animals. So the human had to domesticate himself first, not the human, but most likely the Homo sapien. But the difference between us and humans, us and animals, are the concepts that God has written for us in the Quran. Now, there is a verse that I want to show you in chapter 5, where God tells us about those that have truly disbelieved, right? And we decreed to them therein that is, no, sorry, that's not it. So God says, shall I inform you what is worse than as a recompense at God? One whom God has cursed, and upon whom is a wrath, and has made some of them apes and pigs and slaves of idol. Those are worse in position, for they have strayed from the straight and sound way. Now, ladies and gentlemen, when a person who is not aware of God, and he makes any trigger that comes to him, his Lord, his whims, I'm hungry, I'm going to eat. I feel like sleeping with with a spouse. Oh, well, I'm just gonna go try to do it. I feel like I want to drink. I'm gonna go drink. That guy's upsetting me. I'm gonna hit him. I'm gonna hit him. I feel like I want to steal from this guy. I want more money. This is a person that's just going for his trick. Now, what happens if you take a human being and you remove his humanity? What is left of that human other than he became literally a walking ape? What has happened to a human if you remove his soul and he starts to consume everything, whether sexually or materialistically, other than that he is now a pig? And we clearly see that a pig is very close to us genetically. So there's either two explanations, whether like a pig is from the same family tree, or as what I believe, that there are some humans, because of how much disease they had in their hearts, God literally turned them into pig. God says, become pigs, and they became pigs. And that's why I also believe that it's one of the reasons why you can't eat pig, because it's akin to cannibalism almost, and they're disgusting. But I want you to go back to the point that if a human being loses his humanity, his soul, he is no better than an ape. He is literally a walking ape at this point. And God tells us about the people that cannot listen or cannot hear or cannot comprehend, because they're all only working off their impulses, their primordial impulses, their genetically whatever, like their basic impulses. They're savages. They can't hear or listen or comprehend, because they don't have the mind or the capacity for them to realize that they need to control themselves. Which takes me to another verse. This verse is in chapter 79, I believe, where God says, "And as for the one who feared the position of his Lord and refrained the self from inclination." This is one of the most important things about the religion. It's just for your heart to not become hardened, for you not to lose your empathy, for you to not get desensitized to humanity, for you to not get desensitized to evil, for you to not really dwell into a world where you think you're better than what the world is offering you. Because if you truly understand that there is this animal inside you that is always trying to get you to just what you consider is have fun, which is eat, have sex, drink what you want, intoxicate yourself, and collect an empire build, and joke and have fun, because this is truly what the animals technically do. But the difference between us and the animals don't have an alternative. The animals are doing what they need to do because in their minds they're surviving. But if an animal, if you put them in a way where the food is present and they do not need to hunt, or then they sit and like they spend their time in idling all day. They're in idle mode. Because us as humans, we trying to mimic that. When you get people into a comfort zone, they stop working. They become lazy. They become not wanting to actually go through pain. So these are important topics for us to reflect, as God says that he made the animals communities like us. But because us ourselves, we are a creature that is built upon community. We are a very social creature. Because us, if you put us in a jail cell and there's no light and there's no socializing, the person has fundamental problems. He has significant problems in his mind that it's very difficult for him to go back into society. In fact, God created us to be a single society, one big human race, for us to work together so that we could excel in what we need to do is build, right? So stopping yourself from inclination stops you from the animal taking over. And again, one thing that I truly believe is that the animals and these Homo sapiens, before the human appeared, they were influenced by ideas, they were influenced by triggers, and a jinn can influence them. This is why I believe that Iblis was so upset that when God created the human and put a spirit in the human and said, this human is better than you. Because now us as humans, we're capable of influencing most animals. We're capable of maneuvering in the world as we please, as long as we have the ability to do so. But now the jinn needs to listen to us, and we're capable of actually domesticating jinn as well. As you see in the Quran, Prophet Muhammad talked to the jinn, and the jinn was like, hey, like these guys are better than us. These guys know the truth. We didn't know the truth. They believe that they have these special abilities, but we are more in tune with what God wants than what the demons do. And we are more in tune with what God wants us to behave than what the animals can produce. But we can teach the animals this, and we can actually domesticate these jinns so that they would work with God instead of working against each other or working to subjugate the humans. Because when the animal takes over and you start getting triggers, well, at this point, anything can control you. And this is when you start to get under the hold of ideologies and indoctrinations and jinn, because you've lost the connection with God. You've lost the connection to the system that God has put around you, which everything is under. Now, things have their abilities. The human ability is much higher. We have something that is very important. This is something that God has given us as ability, which differentiates us to the animals, aside from the soul. It's diplomacy. This is the thing that truly allows us to be human beings with all these tongues, all these colors, all these different approaches, all these different ideologies, for us to be able to live side by side. The difference between us and the animals, the wild animals, is we can have concepts of diplomacy. Like, just please allow me to do these things in this area, and I'll allow you to do those things in those area. I might not understand what you're doing there, and I might not like it, and you might not like what I'm doing here, but just let's live side by side so that I can accomplish my goal and you can accomplish your goal, as long as we don't hurt each other. Give and take, bartering, negotiating, all of these like politicizing, like politicians and what they do. I'm sorry, word slip. Those individuals are using the thing that really makes us human beings, which again is diplomacy. But this is something God is actually teaching us in the Quran, to be diplomatic in our approach. Say the words of God, remind them of what God's telling them, and you don't control them. But don't let them to hinder you or to take you lightly. Don't be a walking, like a welcome mat. Don't let them to completely overrule you and overtake you. And sometimes you have to stand up, right? But do not compromise in the religion of God and fight the oppressors. Because if you don't fight the oppression, then there's going to be oppression everywhere. Why? Because it's human nature, because we are weak, to go into our animal instincts. I'm better than him. I'm going to destroy him. I'm going to take my revenge. You know what? I want more than him. I'm going to have that. I'm hungry. That girl looks hot. You know what? Let's go get drunk tonight because it's fun. You know what? Let's play these fun games. Oh, I'm much bigger than him. I'm much stronger than him. Oh, no one can defeat me because I'm King Kong. And they start walking like animals and acting like animals. So these concepts, if someone can grasp and understand and train their animal, so if a human understands this animal inside him and trains it in a way, it is so beneficial for him in the very long run. Because these urges that come to you, it is actually the core concept of it, the reason why it's there, it's for survival. When you become comfortable, and it's no longer about survival, it's about having fun and entertainment. But when you are comfortable, what you need to do is start to train the animal inside you so that when things are not comfortable, you're already at the level of able to survive while being diplomatic and not losing your religion. These are things that you need to ponder upon and understand yourself. You need to understand your psychology, you understand the way that you're thinking, and you could compare yourself to how animals do things, right? Obviously, like if you see an animal stoning, okay, I can't make fun of things right now, but the things that you learn from the animals, the way that they handle themselves in regards to the normal things, not the things that they are going on as triggers and what's going around them. There's so many lessons to learn from how a crow acts, or how a cat looks at another cat, or how a monkey doesn't want to intimidate the person in front of them, or at the speed of an eye of a monkey, or how the hawk can focus on one thing. These are all things where they don't have these second thoughts and they don't have these triggers in their minds when they're doing something to have to justify and to explain themselves on why they're doing things. When you're finding yourself having to justify your actions and justify as if there's a camera around you and you have to answer to yourself why you're having these thoughts, you're having a problem with a jinn at this point. You're having to explain yourself to a devil or to a jinn because the jinn keeps adding these ideas to you that you need to keep answering. But at this point, you are becoming weak in the mind. You're not being confident. And the things that you're doing is always being questions. And you're always trying to find answers to why you're doing things. At this point, you became a beta in the animal kingdom. But the animals themselves don't suffer from this because the jinn that's trying to push you, it itself doesn't suffer from this. It's just triggering you. These, as I said, these are a little bit deeper when you truly just sit back and ponder and look at the philosophy of the human being. If you look at the psyche of the human being, and if you observe the people around you from all across the world, truthfully, if you travel the world and you observe the human being, despite cultural differences, despite difference of language, which does involve, like the language does change the psyche a little bit, but the human intention and the human approach to life is very similar, aside from the necessities, but in the way that they deal with each other. The same fundamental psychological problems is present in humans everywhere. Humans smile the same everywhere. Humans have the same reactions to certain things, which is primal. And the way that they react, it's not something that's trained, it's something that's internal. A baby comes out of his mother's womb crying. So if it's sad or if it's hurt or if it has panic mode, it cries. This reaction is not something that needed to be trained. Eventually, humans understood how to just have sex without someone showing them, just like how the animals innately know it. These things that are innate, you shouldn't be adding to them. And this is truly where the point that I'm trying to come to. You as a human being, you have this animal inside that has the bare necessities for survival. It's something that's innate that you should not change. You should not add vices to this animal. You should not add more hunger to yourself that your body did not need in the first place. Smoking cigarettes, that's adding a new vice. Having a lot of sugar, that's adding a new vice. Playing a lot of games, that's adding a new vice. Because now you're training your animal to have these triggers that it starts to be dependent on them. And these chemical dependencies or these dopamine dependencies or these things that you keep feeding your animal, right? It can sometimes overtake you. And if it overtakes you, then you are willing to sacrifice your religion at certain moments, or sacrifice your Lord, or sacrifice the way that you're handling yourself because of said vice. Because now you've taught the animal something that it did not know before. This is something that is extremely apparent when it comes down to the concepts of pornography and masturbation. When you first introduce pornography to a girl or a man, or to a girl or a boy that does not have the ability to actually have sex, they are learning about something that they can no longer experience, and now they have a hunger for it, but they have no exit. And because they have no exit and no way to deal with it, they end up doing things that they shouldn't do. But then it becomes a pattern. Why? Because they've tasted something, they've added something to their body, they've added an experience that they should have not yet experienced until marriage, where now they need to chase it. Because that's what we are. We're human beings in an animal body, and us, as God created us, we're weak. These inclinations, these triggers, these ties, it requires a lot from us with the permission of God and with the guidance of God to break them. Anyone who smokes cigarettes, I'll tell you, after you quit, you will always get triggers, even 10 years later, 15 years later, but it's easier to handle them. It's just because it's not something that you can escape. Someone that has been going around with a lot of women and he quits, they'll tell you it's something that it's still within them. It's not something that you can escape. People who have fell into hard drugs and quit, they'll tell you they'll get triggers. And these triggers is because of what you put inside your body. So stop yourself from inclination. Don't try to fall in every hole and say that I'll be fine. Because some holes, when you fall, they really leave a scar, and that scar doesn't get healed. And the only time that we can truly heal the scar is on the day of judgment. But we are going to have to sit and be miserable our whole life because we have took away from our purity. This is the problem with the world right now, is these children are introduced to all these vices and all these triggers that it becomes so imbued and part of them that if the electricity is turned off for a whole month, they will all crash and their survival instincts will start to come out because they are no longer comfortable. And the only thing that's been triggering for their whole life is these animal feelings, these animalistic approaches, these impulses that they keep feeding into their inclinations. And when the comfort is gone, they're going to turn on each other. And that animal starts to go hunt other weaker animals for them to get those vices again. Because when the war starts, People still chase their nicotine. It's not, and it becomes a necessity, and people will kill over a cigarette. When the war starts, people are still trying to get money and build systems and build empires, even though people dying. When the war starts, people have killed each other over hamburgers and things of that nature because they've never had the time, they've never had the training, they never practiced the religion so that they would be able to handle that animal, to handle themselves in those moments. Ladies and gentlemen, ladies and gentlemen, my brothers and sisters, I implore you to truly take a look at yourself and go through the pain of making yourself better. People don't go to the gym because of how much pain it is at the very beginning. People don't quit cigarettes because of how much pain it is in the beginning. People don't want to fix relationships because of how much pain there is in the beginning. People don't want to learn something new because of how much pain there is in the beginning. But you know you want it. You know you want a healthy body. You know you want to be a dominant, confident person in your religion. You know you want to memorize the Quran. You know it. This is what you want. That's what every believer wants. But it takes a step by step to take it, right? But what do? We keep feeding our animals, don't we? Don't we just want to sit there and look for the impulses and the dopamines and the things that make us happy instead of working? And yet the older generations that did not have all this entertainment, even though they might have been more oppressive than us because there was no police and security and all this other nonsense, and they had the ability to kill each other and get away with it, yet they were able to handle a lot more than we can. So why don't you put yourself in a condition so that you can train yourself? Because all this comfort around you, God has promised you it's not lasting. Because whenever they think that they are able to handle this world and they have control over the world, but not themselves, like they think that they're capable of handling the world, God's command can come to it night or day, and it becomes like there was nothing there in the first place. And the human can still survive. And ladies and gentlemen, what do you do? What do you do in that moment? What do you do if the lights turn off? What do you do if there's no readily available chicken and food and restaurants and deliveries? What do you do? Have you ever considered that? Oh, well, it won't happen. This is conspiracy theory. This is conspiracy. So this is a promise from God that it could occur at any second. Are you ready? Because I don't know. I believe many of us need the time to get ready. But you don't need to be ready if you're always on the ready. And with that said, thank you very much for listening. I might have went a little bit more than usual, but if you guys are going to stand a prayer after, I do recommend to read chapter 50 and pay attention, really pay attention about the inclination of the human and how there's two angels, which there's a time where one of them is going to be a witness and one of them is going to be driving you. When you lose the sense of this body, this animal, this vessel that your soul is driving, right? And if you lose your soul, then what's driving this vessel that you're in, other than you and your animal, other than this spirit that is so evil and dirty? But there's a day that's going to come. You're going to lose control over the wheel, and an angel's going to come take the wheel, and it's going to tell you, I'm driving you to hell. Because you are an evil human being. You're an evil spirit. You can't be around human beings because you just become an animal. And you're not the type to be allowed to be an animal. You were supposed to domesticate the animals and take care of them. You were supposed to grow the plants and take care of them. You were supposed to take care of your brother, not kill him. You were supposed to feed the children, not make them orphans. This is what you were supposed to do, and you chose to be driven to hell. While the other individual, it's like you've passed the test. You've handled your animal. You controlled yourself. You showed you're above this world. How? By connecting to your Lord, who gave you this blessing, this favor. And you see all these animals around you that you thought that they were killing each other and all this. They were doing what God was telling them to do because they had no other alternative. But you'll find those in heaven. You'll find the dinosaurs. You'll find the chickens. You'll find the birds. You'll find the lions. I don't understand where they get this concept that everything just becomes dirt and nothing's going to go to heaven from these animals, when God never told you any of that. Every single of those spirits that had to live here in this earth and endure the survival of earth, you think God just put them through all this pain for the end? For nothing? No. Because these animals, the blessings of these animals, God created them. They're not under a test like we are. They're going, well, they are being tested, obviously, but they're also going to heaven. But if some of them that wanted to follow the jinn, guess what? Them and the jinn will be in hell because that's what has been decreed. These are concepts that, again, could be very subjective. But I truly believe you will find these animals in heaven because God told you, you have whatever you wish. I had a dog on earth, and this dog treated me very well. This dog protected me at certain times. And the only reason why it protected me because you trained it to protect me, my Lord. This dog here was a best friend to me and it showed a lot of loyalty. I was able to feed it and it stood by my side and it never turned on me. Why can't I have it in heaven? Why can't I have my friend, my pal in heaven? Like these ideologies, these ideas, what they tell you that God has created things in vain, it makes no sense. The reason why people are going to hell, because God is not wasteful. You're going to see earth in heaven, possibly walking around talking to you. You're going to see the sun, the entity, the concept, the spirit of the sun in heaven. Nothing that God has created is going to waste and not exist. Everything that God creates is eternal. But you're going to pick eternally where you want to be. The fire that God has created for us, you're going to find it in hell. It's going to be in hell. But it's not going to be burning. It's going to cause the burning. But then fire is eternal because hell is eternal. Heaven is eternal. You see what I'm trying to explain to you? God told you we did not create this in vain. So everything around you you're going to find on the day of judgment. But make sure you're on the correct side of history. Make sure you're connected to the proper system. Not these fake little tiny systems that pop up a little bit and disappear, pop up a little bit and disappear. The way that you should be thinking is the same way Adam was thinking, the same way that Abraham was thinking, the same way Muhammad, Jesus, Moses, David, all of the examples, Salih, Shu'aiba, Hud, it's the same way of thinking where they connected to the biggest system. And look at all the examples God gave us. How far do they last? The Romans didn't last with their ideologies. The Pharaohs didn't last with their ideologies. The Aztecs, whoever you want, you can list them all. They all disappeared. And all these ideologies that we have today, from Judaism to Christianity to Sunnism, they all evolve and change, trying to adapt to the times. But the idea and the concept and the religion of God, that has always stayed the same, because it does not matter at any age, it does not matter at any place. The rules that God has put for man to handle the way the man should handle himself, those will always be applied and those will always be true, even if you end up on Mars. And with that said, Alhamdulillahi Rabbil Alameen, all praise to our Lord. It is now time to take some questions. Okay, wait, let me go through some of the comments. Because, there was a lot. Sorry. Peace, not our power. Let me see. Oh, man, you guys left a lot of comments. I'm sorry. Thank you. Doing good job. Thanks, brother. The Sunnis say you can't understand the Quran without Hadith, which was written 250, and they say that divine because the chief should only 250. This is the thing that I love. So the first generations were amazing. The second generation was amazing. The third generation was amazing. The fourth generations, they just lost they're just idiots. Why can't it be four like rightly guided generations? Why is it when they had to write things down that the first three are all walking angels, but the fourth ones, they had to write it down. They just lost the ability to pass it orally. Sorry, ladies and gentlemen, brothers, sisters, there's a lot of comments. Sorry, I don't know if I can go through them all. But if anyone did ask a question, all right, reply to Almighty Tube's question. So where's Almighty Tube? How far up is it? Let him post it again. Ali, where's your proof for animals will go to paradise? I already told you that God did not create anything in vain. You understand? So God has, when he created something, it's going to be eternal. He's going to destroy everything and then he's going to rebuild everything, and you yourself was going to be rebuilt, but it's going to be rebuilt in a different system. So why wouldn't animals be rebuilt if the trees and the fruits are going to be rebuilt, right? So the plants are going to be rebuilt in a way that you are going to recognize them, and there's more of it. So you're going to have وَلَحْمُ طَيْرٍ مِّمَّا يَشْتَهُونَ. So it's like birds are obviously in paradise that you're going to eat. So aren't the birds supposed to be dirt? Why are there birds in paradise? Subhanallah. Astaghfirullah. Oh, sorry, bro. I don't think you were. Yes, I apologize if I said that in a way. I'm just thinking like in a way that a Sunni asking me. I don't know if I don't believe you are, but where does it mention angels? Oh, because God says that وَمَا يَلْفِظُ مِنْ قَوْلٍ إِلَّا لَدَيْهِ رَقِيبٌ عَتِيدٌ. If you go to Surah Zukhruf, the ornaments, God is telling you that anything that is being says is being recorded by the messengers, and God calls the angels messengers. So that's how you can have that connection. It does not explicitly say they're angels, but it's implicitly understood from the whole scope of the Quran. Oh, Muhammad. Now I understand. How do you know all of this? Why should I trust you? Well, whatever I told you, I've backed up with some verses from the Quran, and then there are other things that I said from the Quran without quoting them. So if you'd like, we can rewind the sermon, and I will tell you when I'm saying something that I know from the Quran where I'm not quoting a direct verse. Obviously, when I listed the messengers, but I'm trying to think in regards to Iblis, for example, that Iblis says that you created something that is better than you. And God was talking about successors in the land, right? So if there was a successor in the land, there's a predecessor. There's something that is before what God has created. So what was the thing that is dominant before? Which clearly shows that there was jinn and animals and other things on earth. Okay. Now, I talked about evolution for a little bit. There's in chapter 29 that God produces, go into the land and watch and observe how God began creation, and he will produce the final image, which can be understood as evolution. What other things did I say where I just inherently said verses from the Quran? There's many. It's just they're not, like I have to watch the video so I can show you. You are so wise. Thank you, Ahmed. Adam, sorry. What is the criteria for challenging of the Quran is to bring a surah like it? What is the criteria for the challenge of the Quran to bring a surah like it? So when you are going to present a surah like the Quran, it needs to be able, one, to tell you, A, either the characteristics of God, B, it has to rhyme, and C, it has to also involve concepts of 100% truth, and it can be applied to all times and all generations. But yes, there is the obvious one that where I think there's a guy by the name of Hamza. He did a very excellent report in regards to the shortest surah of all the literal devices that he did, that God used, and also how there was many words that on the whole scope of the Quran that God didn't that God used in that surah, but he didn't use in other surahs. It was a very good piece to show that how intrinsic that surah is. But for me, the thing is, God says to produce a chapter like it and to bring your witnesses other than God. So I can take a chapter from God, from the Quran, and we can read it to people that don't know God or don't know the Quran, right? And ask them, do you believe that this is from God? And people will witness that this is from God. And as God himself is witnessing that it's from God, he's witnessing it in the book. But now you need to bring something up, make it as intrinsic and as beautifully said as the Quran, right? In the language, well, you can choose any language you want, but it has to be as like perfect as the Quran presents itself in Arabic. But at the same time, other people have to believe it, that it's from God. So this is one of the challenges that God brought forth. Thank you. Appreciate that. It took 1 month because the verse you are referring to mentions the entirety being sent down in Ramadan, since it does not say it was partial revelation. No, God says, وَإِذَا أَنزَلْنَا surah. So God has been bringing, it's not 1 month in Ramadan. The Quran has came down in Ramadan. It does not necessitate for it all to be expressed at once. So let's assume Gabriel came down with all of the Quran. Let's give you that assumption. But it does not necessitate for Gabriel to be saying it all in Ramadan. So God says, وَإِذَا أَنزَلْنَا surah. So when we brought down a chapter, you see some of them turning away, right? أو إِذَا أَنزَلْنَا surah فِيهَا قِتَالٌ. So if we brought down a chapter that fighting has been mentioned in it, so that shows that God was bringing down chapters. Hunt for squirrels. Hey, you leave the squirrels alone. Peace. How long does it take for the Quran to come down? Says the Quran was sent down during the month of Ramadan. I don't know how long it took, right? I don't know the complete long, but it does show that there's a chapter in chapter 17. God says that we brought it down in portions, I believe. I think it's at the end of chapter 17. قل ادعوا الله وادعوا الرحمن قل آمنوا ولا تؤمنوا قرآنا فرقناه والقرآن فرقناه. Yes, so قرآن فرقناه. So this is the verse that I'm thinking. Separated. So yeah, together with the reading, which قرآنا فرقناه, together a reading which we have separated you. You may read it to people in order to remain. لتقرأه على الناس على مكث ونزلناه تنزيلا. على مكث does not necessitate for it to be مكث does not necessitate to be a remain. It could be on portions, but yes, it's also for someone to be makatha, so some people can be certain, right? And there is a verse they say why it hasn't been the Quran revealed as a single sentence. There is many verses where God says that when we reveal the chapter, you see such and such. So I don't believe it was in 1 month, but I also don't know how long it took to reveal the Quran. If you want to go by history, sure, but is it necessary to know? No, it isn't. It's not necessary information. That's why it's not revealed to us. Thank you, Abdul Rahman. May God bless you. Peace, Sister Nina. On the left and the right, you can say shoulders. I don't know where they are exactly, but you have two witnesses. Where they are, I don't know. But their job is to write down. Okay, let's go back down. Nina, there are many people who will clarify your doubts. Almighty Tube. Where's Almighty Tube? What's your question? We shouldn't compare Quran to Hadith. Okay, because it's not from God. Because the majority of people aren't Arabic. But tell me, are you dense this or are you just right now? Who is he talking to? Ali. He's let me see, Almighty Tube. What's your question, Almighty Tube? God bless you. God bless you, Brother Charlie. Ladies and gentlemen, visit this man's channel. Okay? Visit this man's channel. Google this, or not Google this, on YouTube. Put Islamic Channel USA, right? And follow his channel. He produces really good information for people who have ears to listen. Okay? I don't know why you keep removing some of your shorts there, Charlie. But yes, so he does put shorts and he does put information for the people in the West to really see and understand the perspective of someone who's reading a Quran, who's understanding the religion outside these attachments that people have attached to it. Yes, the Quran is written in Arabic, but the religion of God is not an Arabic religion. It is a way of understanding and appreciating your Lord, but the Arabic book is teaching you. You see what I'm saying? It's a mentality. And because my good brother here, he's in the States, he grew up in an environment where he could see the Quran jiving with that environment, and it's like, and he's realizing that it makes his world better because it's amplifying what he knows of truth, and it's taking away the falsehood of what he sees around him. This is the beauty of the Quran. So this is the channel. Again, follow it. I'm telling you, you guys will enjoy the material that he puts out. Where's my share? Share this to the tabs. Add it to the stage. Okay? Islamic Channel USA. But wait, this is not the same one. Yes, it is. Islamic Channel USA. Go watch some of this stuff. I don't know why you keep hiding your stuff though there. All right. Almighty Tubes. Peace. Okay. True, but most people can never understand what I and people like me to come to Quran alone. Almighty Tube, I'm not. هل أنت قرآني? I am a. هل أنا قرآني? Yeah, we don't really use that term. نحن ما بنستعمل هالكلمة على نفسنا. أنتوا بتسمونا قرآنيين والله سمانا مسلمين. الله سمانا مؤمنين ونحن مؤمنين. هالكلمة سني أو شيعي أو قرآني, these terms made up. We don't need them. We don't need to distinguish each other. You understand? We don't need to sit here and have these things. Oh, this guy is a Sunni. This guy is a. It doesn't make sense. JS, it would take me a very long time. Akhi, it's in there. Thank you, Maggie. God bless you. Brother, what do you interpret? What do you interpret when Quran says tree of life, garden of refuge? Tree of life? Can you quote the line? Yes, that's the problem in where you're at, and it's the problem in the Middle East. A person can appreciate what you're saying, but they can't accept it. And the first time that you have a conversation, they might laugh, they might entertain you, they might joke for you a little bit. But if they see you repeat it 2 or 3 times, then you become a threat to them because you are threatening what they know. And they truly don't like that. Hey, JS, don't be jealous now. Literally everybody in the chat has names like Muhammad. When did I ever say that the Quran doesn't need an explanation? When did I ever say that the Quran does not get explained? What I keep telling you is that the Quran explains itself. You can't sit here and tell me that the guy that Moses walked with, right? He was in the middle of the sea. The man was in the middle of the sea. And Moses walked into this step with this man to find him on a lake because Moses said to God, there's nobody that's smarter than me. There's no servant of yours that is more smarter than me. So God had to humble Moses' arrogance. And he took him into the middle of the water to introduce him to the man called as Khidr. How do you know it's Khidr? Oh, well, because we're explaining it from the Quran, right? And when they met each other, Khidr, the way that he killed the child was so gruesome that he beat him with a rock and he stripped his stomach up. That's the difference between me and you, okay? Your explanations of the Quran are saying things that are nowhere found in the Quran, nowhere found anywhere, okay, other than your scholar's head, okay? When they want to say Khidr was and I will show you the book that states this. Some scholars truly believe this. Khidr was the manifestation of Prophet Muhammad to Moses before Muhammad was born. How do you get that from the Quran? Don't worry about it, bro. Just trust us. No, dude, that's the difference. We don't come up with these extra weird stories for you to come tell us that this is what the Quran is saying. Do you know what I mean? You can't tell me here that you are explaining the Quran. God says, divorce is twice in chapter 2. You come back and tell me, well, yeah, the Quran says divorce was twice, but didn't you hear what the sheikh said? The sheikh said divorce is 3 times, and who are you to explain to me the Quran? Like, bro, please take your nonsense elsewhere, man. Muhammad, you have no respect for the Prophet. You have deep inner hatred. May God, I can't say stuff like this. I can't say stuff like this to you right now. But God knows what's in my mind. It's all right. I'll forgo your ignorance. The reason why I do these shorts and the reasons why I do what I do, because you guys cannot amount to his toenail, the smallest toenail on his foot. You guys can't amount to it. Yet you want to go around mimic him, like as if you are the embodiment of Prophet Muhammad and what he left behind. You are following the tradition of this man, and you are representing this tradition of the man when you guys can't even, you're not even worth the saliva that would come out when he was reading the Quran, because of how cruel you are to your own prophet, to my prophet. You were going to say that I insult the prophet? When's the last time that I go around and said that Muhammad, because of how strong he is, he went had sex with 11 his wife, and out of disrespect with one bath, just one bath, he went had sex 9 or 11 times. You don't only disrespect Muhammad, you disrespect Moses, you disrespect Jesus, you disrespect Solomon, you disrespect David, all of them in your hadith books. It was the cruelest things that you wrote down about the Prophet, which I'm here to, you know what to do? To shove them in your face. You think Islamophobes are the ones who are using these stuff against you? No. Us believers will use it against you because you run away from it. The Prophet went to a lady and he said, hey, I know that guy is not your man, but let him suck on your boobie for a little bit because he's sad. So, hey man, maybe I'm a little sad. I want to be a Sunni. Bring your sister, let me suck on her boobie. Maybe I'll be happy. Because after 5 suckles should be a muharram to me. Would you let me suck on your sister's boobie there? Oh, you know what? Technically, it can involve your mother too. But God forbid for us to talk about your parents, but you're saying about that to the Prophet and his wives. Oh, let me marry your 6-year-old. Let me sit there and copulate. Let me walk in the public, me holding your 9-year-old daughter's hand, and I'm her husband. Let me do it, bro. Let me be a Sunni like you. Let me be so proud. Let me sit there and be a glorified pedophile. All we need to do is find 2 pubes on her, and that to you is sufficient as motherhood. As her, she's capable. Please let me be that. Let me be that. Or you know what? Let me go take over your country. And then I'm going to enslave all your women. I'm going to make them walk topless, right? And after I rape them, because she's my servant, right? I'm going to tell her son to come join Islam, to become a Muslim. Because that's what you guys talk about, right? This is what the conquest of how the Prophet told you. That the Prophet said that, oh, well, it's not a problem to have sex with these servants. And then what? Her son or her husband or her brother watching his sister, his mother, his daughter get raped is going to say, oh yeah, this is an amazing religion. I'm going to accept your Islam, right? This is what you want, right? Or what about if you reject a hadith, a single hadith, that's akin to apostasy. Let me just take off your neck right here, huh? Let's do that. How about we do that? Would you like to do that? Please, bro. I'm the one who's defending the Prophet from your nonsense. You can't have a conversation with me because we're going to start to involve goats. Do you understand why? Because you guys are claiming that goats ate the Quran. No. That's a weak hadith. So why the hell did you write it? Why the hell are you writing this nonsense? Why are you telling me that the Prophet sat there and started to suck the tongue of his grandkid? Sucking the tongue, right? Well, why are you telling me this? Why are you involving the Prophet in such things? Why do you need to go around and tell me that Aisha used to run after the Prophet while he was going to the mosque to pray to clean the semen off him? That's what you want me to learn about? On how Aisha was cleaning the semen of my Prophet as if he's perverted? He's just gonna go have sex with his wife, bust on his leg, and then just go to the mosque and pray. And people are watching Aisha going behind like, hey, bro, you got some semen on you, man. Like, what is this religion you're trying to preach to me? I hate the Prophet. I hate you. I hate you and what you represent. I hate how you're treating Mecca. I hate how you're treating Palestine, the Holy Land. I hate how you guys are approaching the religion. I hate how much you guys divided the everything that comes to religion. I hate how much lies you guys produce. I hate your arrogance. I hate your lack of logic. I hate how you guys think about God. I hate how much you guys steal, how much you guys take from inheritance. I hate how weak you are on the world stage. You are the weakest countries. You have all this oil and all these smart minds, and you have the children of Israel's hotbed. You have the Quran. You have the strongest language. Yet you are the weakest, some of the weakest people. One tiny country with less than a population of Florida is kicking the shit out of you guys. They're beating you up. Let's say what it is. These little Jewish Zion nuts are kicking you, beating billions of you. These little people. That's how much God has humiliated you. He brought people akin to you. The same mentality when it comes to religion. So instead of you guys not representing the ISIS that you guys truly believe in, but you don't want to show, he brought the Jews that are on the level of ISIS, the really crazy Jews, and they're kicking you. A small group. Why? Why hasn't God give you victory over them? Let's be real, bro. I'm insulting the prophet. God is humiliating you. Do you really think that those signs are just going to disappear because you guys are sit there going to cry to God after you're calling his prophet a pedophile? Bro, don't come to me. I'll destroy everything that you love. I'll destroy everything that you want to come to me because I'm defending my prophet. You guys don't even have the courage to stand up to a bunch of Zionists in a very small country because you're scared of everybody. After you, your own selves, you took the oil that God gave you and sold it to your oppressors because you guys can't put one and one together because you guys think that you have been given the right? 73 sects and they're all going to hell except one. If there's 73 sects, 73 sects are going to hell because then you're a mushrik because you don't know what you're saying. All these lies that you attributed to my prophet, you have absolutely no idea what you're saying, bro. You came to the wrong channel to tell me that I insult the prophet. You're the one who told me he had sex with his concubine in his wife's bed. Do you know how wrong and disgusting it is? Do you know how bad that is? That's the honor of my wife. I'm gonna go bring another girl and have sex with her in her bed? What are you talking about, bro? Like, how many times have you tried to allude that Aisha cheated on the prophet? Like, according to your sources, she's been stuck in her house for the rest of her life. Do you know what that means? As per chapter 4, that she committed what? Indecency. That she's stuck in her house. Fahisha is what she committed. That's what you keep trying to explain to me about Aisha. The prophet hated Aisha from the things that I read that you guys said, that the prophet said. She's akin to these whores of Joseph. Bro, what are you saying to me, man? Please, come have a seat. You defend your prophet in the hadith. I dare you. You can't, because it's not what the prophet would do. It's not what the prophet would say. It is not the prophet's morals that I know. My prophet would not go around, I was ordered to fight everybody until they testify La ilaha illallah. That's ISIS talk. That's not what the Quran is teaching us. That's nothing in what the Quran says. We did not send you over them a controller. We did not send you over them to like, whoever wants to believe, let them believe, and whoever disbelieves, let them disbelieve and leave them. Yeah, if they don't want to believe, leave them. That's what the Quran teaches you. What are you telling me in your hadith books? Bro, you're lucky I don't go into da'if stuff, because if I go into the da'if stuff, you're just going to be like, it's a weak hadith. Why they're written down? I stick with the sahih because the sahih itself is enough. Bro, women are on par with donkeys and black dogs, which black dogs you have to kill. So why is there black dogs walking in front of me in my prayers if I have to kill him, as per what you say the prophet told you? Chameleons, black dogs, frogs can't be eaten. What else do you want, bro? How much more do you want me to humiliate you in those nonsensical books? Bro, I'm fasting. I just slipped, and I slipped my thingy in a horse. Did I break my fast? Absolutely not, according to Shafi'i. Where did you get that information? Bro, if I look in Tabari, right, and I look at certain verses, there's 6 different exegesis to the exact same verse, and they all link back to the prophet. So is my prophet that bad? that he went to a group of people and he said, like, hey, this is the exegesis to this verse. And then he went to a whole different group of people and he said, this is the exegesis to the verse, but it's completely opposite here. And he goes to a different person and he goes, this is an exegesis to the exact same verse and it's different than this one and it's different than, and then you guys come to me, oh, you guys don't believe in my exegesis. Hell no. Hell no. Why don't you take my hadith books? Because it's garbage. Well, that's what the Prophet said. The Prophet didn't say that. You said that. Prove that the Prophet said, oh, I have this magic isnad for the three generations missing, bro. Just because the last guy on the chain said those three people and they could be found in the same area does not mean that the second guy said that. 5,000 hadith from Abu Huraira and 100 hadith from Abu Bakr, his best friend. Abu Huraira stayed for 3 years. Abu Huraira, when he's being asked, hey, is that from you or is that from the Prophet? Oh, no, that little part was from me. Why aren't you expressing that until someone asks you, Abu Huraira? Didn't God tell us not to call each other by these labels and these names? Like, why are you calling him father of cat or father of cow, Abu Bakr? Why aren't you calling them by their names that God gave them? Why aren't you calling them by their father's name as God ordered you to? Bro, don't come to me and tell me I insult the Prophet. You can't stand in front of me because you insult the Prophet. I tear you apart. I tear your religion apart. I tear your jurisprudences apart. I tear your qira'ats apart. I tear you all apart because I'm not here to sit there and be confined to these boxes that you put to yourselves. Do you want to put a cardboard box on your head and say that's your religion? That's not who I am. I'm here to represent what the Quran says. I'm here to defend my prophet, all the prophets, from all this nonsense that you say. Oh, Solomon went around and had sex with 99 girls and only had one child? Or because he didn't say, inshallah, that he's going to have children, so he had one scrawny child, as per Abu Huraira. May God damn Abu Huraira. What you gonna do? Abu Huraira that you're listing there, may God damn him if that's who he is and that's what he said. Because all he said was lies. All he did was do exactly what Paul the apostle did to the Christians, he did to you. This is what Abu Huraira was doing. This is what Bukhari did. Who knows if Abu Huraira is actually properly existing? Maybe they took the name and made it a pen name just for them to sit there and spread hadith and all this nonsense to subvert you, to make you an idiot, for you to sit here and not understand anything about the religion. Don't come to me and tell me I insult the Prophet. You insult everything to do with the Prophet. The Prophet has nothing to do with you. As God says in the Quran, those that segregated the religion, those that divided the religion, you are nothing to do with them. The Prophet has nothing to do with you. I'm defending the Prophet. You hate the Prophet. If you loved the Prophet, you would have followed the Prophet. What did the Prophet teach? The Quran. Very simple. Don't come to me and tell me I insult the Prophet, because I will tear your religion apart. All right, guys. Any other questions? Any other questions? Any other one that wants to sit here and defend their Sunnis and Shia and all this other nonsense that you guys want to throw? Please. Your material, I know it. Okay? Your material is not far from me. Oh, he's Googling it. What's wrong? I'm Googling your books. AI, you can't use AI. Why? Now we're much faster and we're better. We are the one who produced it. Do you know what that means? We are the ones who produced it to kill the animals, to kill the devils, to humiliate the liars, to sit there and make you small. You want to make me small, and you want to bring your big shot. The guy that if he slaps me, he goes to jail, because we're in the 21st century, because his intellectual mind cannot sit there and listen to the hadith that they wrote. Bro, you don't even know half the nonsense that's in there. What's the first meal in heaven? You don't know. It's going to be fish oil and fish. Just really bad dish that nobody would want to eat in this day and age. But that's what they want to feed you in heaven, because they know. Yeah, there's hell is already there and heaven's already there. But God tells you that hell and heaven still didn't exist until God creates it on the day of judgment. What are you teaching me? What explanations do you have for me? Should I not wear red? Red is haram. As per who? What do you want? What do you want? Please have a seat. Let's talk about your religion. You can't. You can't even express your own religion. Your scholars fail in front of me. Your scholars, you understand that? When I go to Mecca and I sit there and I talk to them, they fail. They just don't want to have a conversation. No. You are doubting in Bukhari? Yeah, I am. Oh, you're a kafir? No, I'm not. You're the idiot. You're the one who's associating. Oh, I am calling you and inviting you to Islam, believe in God and the hadith. You're inviting me to shirk. Are you inviting me to associate to God what I have no knowledge in? Did you pray Fajr today, oh guy who's defending the Prophet? Or did you sleep through Fajr and the devil peed in your ear? Because that we can prove, right? Devil's going around peeing on people's ears. That's why he didn't wake up for Fajr. So it's not your fault. It's the devil's fault. He peed in your ear so you can't hear it. What a cruel little devil. You made the devil look like Mr. Bean in the hadith books. Yeah, you made the devil akin to Mr. Bean, the way the devil acts. But the devil is sitting there slapping you left and right with the things that he wrote in the hadith that you keep buying. God states that God's throne is on water. You tell me the devil's throne is on water. So, well, there's an association. But you know what the devil will tell you on the day of judgment? Bro, I'm free of what you associated me to. My throne's not on water. I don't have a throne. Where's Ali? Is he still here, or does he still want to talk? That was awesome. Oh, see, another idiot. Ladies and gentlemen, we're dancing on our enemies this year. When did anyone say that the Torah is preserved? When did anyone say that the Torah is preserved? Quran is denying stunning punishment, but Torah's... Look at his smiling emojis. Please, where's the stoning verse? It's outside of the Quran. So is the Quran preserved or not then? Is the zikr preserved or not? Why is there a surah missing? There's a verse missing. There's a verse missing. Hello? This is a complete Quran with 2 verses missing? What are you smoking? And you're laughing at me? Like, bro, what is this? Like, you guys don't know base. You are akin to the Christians with their lies. You are just like the Jews with their arrogance. You are just like the Hindus with your idol worship. There's nothing different. You don't build rocks, you put books. You don't put rocks and make them your Lord. You put books and make them your Lord. Oh, this is what, what's his name? Abdul Wahhab said. Read his book, read his book. Everything he says is good. What, you don't like what Abdul Wahhab said? No, I'm not a Wahhabi. Oh, I'm not a Wahhabi, but this is Kitab al-Tawheed, Kitab al-Tawheed. Bro, you don't know anything that you're saying. Simply. Bro, do you know where I am? Do you know which country I'm in? Are you guys going to keep scaring me? I'm in the hot zone of where you guys preach. The hot zone. Am I scared? Not one bit. Because whatever you're going to do to me, my Lord is with me. You can't strip my God away from me, but I can strip your hadith away from you because I could sit there and crack it day in, day out with the things. All I need to do is read about 4 hadith and it's like, oh, man, there they go. There they go. Contradicting the Quran. 4 hadith. Within 4 or 5 hadith, 4 or 5 different hadith. As I'm reading the book, there's a contradiction. Very simple. Yes, that's very true. Muhammad admires Doctor who says Torah. Is that? And who do you admire? Andrew Tate? What does Andrew Tate say? So do you believe it too? You guys are idiots. Yeah, guys, like these guys have a Marvel comic for the Day of Judgment. They have it down to the T. They have it down to the T. The judge is gonna come. He has one eye, and people are gonna believe him. Okay, he has one eye in the dead center. And he's chained up in a desert or an island or whatever it is, and he's going to appear. And people are going to believe him. He's going to do magic tricks, right? He's going to have miracles. God is going to test you so much that he's going to give a devil miracles. You understand this? Like, God is going to test you so bad that where God gives miracles to his prophets, he's going to give this guy miracles. He's going to cut a child in half and bring him back to life. He's going to order the clouds to bring down the water. He's going to have all these godly powers. And then him and Jesus are going to fight in the middle of the sky where everybody sees it. And there's still going to be disbelievers at this point. I don't know why. Hey, when God says in the Quran, like God is truly warning the people of Quraysh, hey, aren't like either the punishment is coming to you or the hour unexpectedly. The hour is going to come to you unexpectedly or the punishment. And then imagine the prophet going to the disbelievers, hey guys, the hour can come to you unexpectedly at any second or the punishment. And then he goes to another group of people, the hour will not come until Jesus comes back. The hour will surely not get established until the Son of Mary come back. And then goes back to the disbelievers. Hey, the hour could come at any second. Be careful. well, why didn't the disbelievers be like, well, Jesus didn't come back? Well, the hour can come back at any second. Hey guys, surely the hour will only come on a Friday. Hey guys, the hour will come at any second. Oh no, today is actually Sunday, so can't be today. See how stupid your religion sounds? You see how weak your position is? You see what the hadith does to the perfect Quran? You see what the hadith does to the actual religion? You guys are so weak in the mind because you've accepted so many lies. My prophet's free of you. This was easy, guys. They don't read it. Who's writing? Oh yeah, Jesus, I think, comes on a donkey, right? He's going to come out of the Umayyad mosque in Damascus. For you to know who wrote these stories, he's coming from the Umayyad mosque, out of the Umayyad mosque in Damascus. So who came up with these stories? The Umayyads, because they want to give themselves the significance. They want to give themselves the stature, the posture that Jesus loves the Umayyads. So you shouldn't hate the Umayyads because Jesus is coming from the mosque of the Umayyads. Even though you can break my neck and I will never pray in that mosque, because it's clearly not a mosque established of taqwa. It was a mosque established to divide the nations, and people listen to them because people like our friends here, they're weak. Peace, Hassan. Yeah, because you don't have the words of the Prophet. Please understand this. It is not the word of the Prophet. Whatever you have in your books, 90%, if not more, let's not give it a number. The majority of it is not from the Prophet. It cannot be. It contradicts the Quran. But here's the number one challenge for you, Sunnis. So we do know that there is a congregation, a sermon, right, that you guys have every Friday. This is a tradition that we took from the Prophet, because God clearly states in the Quran, يَا أَيُّهَا الَّذِينَ آمَنُوا إِذَا نُودِيَ إِلَى الصَّلَاةِ مِنْ يَوْمِ الْجُمْعَةِ فَاسْعُوا إِلَى ذِكْرِ اللَّهِ وَذَرُوا الْبَيْعَ. So if it is called towards the prayer on the Day of Judgment, then go to the remembrance of God. Why in your hadith books and all these computer minds that can remember all these hadith, where are the weekly Friday sermons? That we know the Prophet was saying sermons. Where are they? Why do you have only one final sermon? Why weren't the people memorizing the sermons? Why weren't the sermons written down? Come on, bro. I'm waiting. Please provide to me the sermons that the Prophet said. Why aren't you guys protecting those? Bro, I can pull up so many things that even on my own channel, people have yet to hear, because there is literally so much to talk about. From the seerah, from your hadith books, from the jurisprudences, from the qira'ats, even your qira'ats, there's some of them that do not even align to proper Arabic grammar. They would break and make up words just because to say that this is normal. Zirat al-mustaqim. Great Arabic. What's the root for zirat? Zarata. That's amazing. That's amazing. Isn't it? Amazing. Oh, did he insult me? Did he break down? Oh, I'm sorry. Is that how you truly feel? Maybe I'm one of those mini dajjals that you guys should be looking out for. Then run away, little boy. Run away. You're not allowed to listen to the mini dajjals. Such weirdos, bro. It truly is. Where are they? Like, these people are computer minds that they've memorized everything that the Prophet said. This guy on this guy, this guy. Okay, one of the things, there was at one point hundreds of people listening to the weekly sermons that they would have on Fridays. Why is that not recorded? Like, I would want to record those first. Like, this is his public ministry. Okay, so the Quran is in Arabic. It does not need Arabic. The Quran is in Arabic. So you are supposed to understand the Arabic for you to understand the Quran. But the Arabic is not explaining the Quran because the Arabic is the language, the communication. Okay, so that's like me saying my videos, right, are videos that are on YouTube. Is YouTube explaining my videos? No. But imagine somebody making videos to explain my videos. And when I'm telling you my videos are enough, then why is there another video if my videos are enough? And why do I have to stick to the other videos if my video is enough? This is the mentality that's broken. Because yes, Arabic is in the Quran and Arabic is in the Hadith. That's the mode of communication. But the clear book does not need clarification. I'm not clarifying the clear book. You understand me? I'm letting the clear book speak. I'm telling you what the book is telling me and I'm telling it to you. I'm not coming up with other things, third-party things to clarify said book. Like, this is what I'm trying to say. If someone comes to me with an exegesis of the Quran explaining the Quran, I'm okay with that. That's that person's understanding. But if you're going to come to me and give me books and say that these books are mandatory, and then you tell me that gold is forbidden, stone the adulterer, eating frog is forbidden, wearing red is forbidden, you can't pray after Fajr up until during sunrise, you can't pray during sunset, you have to pray 5 times a day, you have to give 2.5%. Okay, bro, like, this is not explaining the book. This is your laws. This is your constitution at this point. It's got nothing to do with the book. These are amazing, man. I believe that's where God says, "Innahu bala'un azim." So this is a very important lesson for the humans. Everything that God gives you is going to be taken away from you. So I believe what God is trying to say, "Inna hada huwa al-bala'u al-azim." So this is the biggest test, or this is a great test. The great test. That's what the verse says after he did not sacrifice. So the great test is that Abraham was begging he was asking God for a child for a very long time. God gave him the child. And then God shows him in a dream that he has to sacrifice the child. And God's asking Abraham directly at that point, through the dream, is your kid more important to you than me? You got what you wanted. Are you willing to sacrifice it for me? Abraham was like, yep, right away. And then obviously God tested him and he passed the test. So you as a person, do you have something now that you really want, or something that you have given? Are you willing to give it back to God? Because for me, what I found in my life experience, subjectively, when I give something up truly, that's when I'm allowed to keep it. And at the moment that I've given up on something that I really want, that's when I usually get it. It's really weird, but then because it's a blessing in a way, because you're able to let it go. And when you come to your deathbed, you're going to let go of everything. I do believe it's Ismail. Maybe people want to believe it or not. Okay, so this is something that I've said earlier today. So the book, al-kitab, is the results of any actions, or the judgment of any action, or the decree of anything. So it's like the programming of God. So you hit your head on the wall, there's pain, okay? So that's something that God has decreed. The mother book has every judgment. The mother book has every result of any action. As God says that there's nothing that occurs except it's in a book before we present it. Nabru'uha. Okay? So the mother book has all the judgments, all the answers, all the conclusions to anything that a human tries, or anything tries really. And then God says the Quran, which has an example for everything that's in the mother book. So obviously, like, you can take a verse and it can be applied on many conditions that's in the mother book, because it's one example that gets applied to many different things in the world, especially when it comes down to the religion. So وَلَقَدْ ضَرَبْنَا لِلنَّاسِ فِي هَذَا الْقُرْآنِ مِنْ كُلِّ مَثَلٍ. So sorry, God says أم يقولون افترى بل هو الحق من sorry ولكن تفصيل الكتاب لا ريب فيه من رب العالمين أم يقولون تصديق الذي بين يديه وتفصيل الكتاب لا ريب فيه من رب العالمين. Okay, so one second, I'm just going to pull up a verse. I think I was quoting chapter 10, but I just want to pull up the verse. Mm-hmm. Yeah, so there's this one here. Yeah. Yeah, so when you look at the verse where God says in 3:7 was that there are clear verses, and those are the mother book. So this is where you will find, these are the source of the book, Kitab. The verses that are coming from the mother book. He is the one who has revealed the book to you, of which has precise sign. They are the source of the book. This is Kitab, the mother book. While others have verses that are similar. So these ambiguous verses go with the Kitab to explain the rest of the things that you will find in the mother book. Because God says that He can efface what He wants, and He can solidify what He wants, and He has the mother book. So the mother book has the explanations to literally every incident, and the Quran is giving you an example that, like the Quran will have a verse that will explain every example that's in the book. I don't know how to explain it. Like it's a summary of the Quran is a summary of the master book, and the Quran will cover every topic that's in the mother book, master book, mother book. I hope that was sufficient. But you cut it nevertheless. Mm-hmm. Thank you, Bell Delphine. Thank you, Toe. I have no clue what this guy's talking about. Appreciate it. What I'm trying to talk about is the simple concept that God wants us to have a proper relationship with Him. God sent us a very simple book called the Quran, which to a lot of people it might sound repetitive, but it's teaching us and training us for us to think a certain way, to approach God in a very sincere manner, in a way that we're honest with ourselves and honest to the people around us, and for us to rely on our Lord and to understand the creator of the world in a way where we can start to recognize His communication and recognize His blessings and His favors upon us, and the signs that He sends us as proof that we are either on the right path or that a warning that we might be on a bad path. Because every time we do an error, we're going to be accounted for that error, and God is going to bring back the justice. And every time we do something that is positive, God will multiply what we do as a positive, and we're going to find it with our Lord after we pass away and our God resurrects us. This world is very temporary, but us as human beings, after we've been created, after we've been born, we are forever. We're everlasting after we get resurrected. So we just want to know that we are on the good side of our Creator. So I apologize if you're maybe hearing these concepts in a way that, I mean, I can appreciate what you're saying, because yes, it's like hearing somebody who talked about who looked at a topic for a very long time. He kind of assumes that the people in the audience have some of the knowledge that what he has, so he skips some of the details. And maybe I am guilty of that, because I just assume that people read the Quran often. Not saying that as much as I read it. Maybe there's people, obviously there's people that read it more than me, but I'm saying that I just keep assuming that because we are the Quran alone community, that people are a lot more in tune with what the Quran states because they've read it often. So I have like my good brother Musa and my good sister Yera, and obviously my good brother Baba Shuaib, and others as well, like my sister Lina. She they've read the Quran so many times, like these concepts when we talk, they're just remembering verses as I say them, and then we still have conversations and we're still learning something new of the book. But I've seen and I know how much they've spent time with the book. So it's like I just have this bias, I guess, when it comes down to the Quran alone community. And I apologize for like people who are coming to listen to the first time, might be a lot of alien concepts. But stick around. You might learn a thing or two about this world that's around you. No problem. Exactly. Why do Quranists leave Sunnism? Because they want to listen to music. Do you want me to rap for you? Yeah, shouts out to Musa. You know, there's also another person I want to mention, and he's often in the chat. I'm going to use a different name. Well, actually, he's right here. What's up? I'm Brother Mahdi. You know, when I first met Mahdi, it was a very intriguing conversation. And this individual has proven through consistency that he was a person that wanted to know the truth. And I don't know what his affiliation or his view before we talked, but he asked some serious heavy questions at the beginning, but I couldn't doubt his sincerity even from the first time I talked to him. Again, I know he's a man that is very well kept, and at the same time he approaches things in a very professional manner, but he's been a blessing to me, and subhanAllah, even his message, he keeps you on your toes, because the way that he asks and the way that he presents information, it is coming from a genuine place, which reminds me, like I've always loved that I love that the people that I meet in the Quran alone community, they're so very special and unique in a way, and it shows this diversity where we have this common ground, which is the Quran, and we have the basic, which is Kitab, like as God says, it's like the mother, the source of the book. This we're all in agreement with. But these little differences that we have is truly what makes our community very strong and amazing. And it's not like and I said this in our Quran study, which we host on Telegram every day. If you join our Telegram group, which is right here, we do have a Quran alone, a Quran study that we host daily. Where is it? There's the Telegram. But the religion is not like everyone's, like, let's assume the religion is a hat. We don't all want to wear the exact same hat with the exact same color. Let's say red with like 4 letters on it, like MAGA, because then life is not supposed to be like that. But I feel like all religions are trying to make you wear this single hat and identify as a single way. But truthfully, everyone has their own color and everyone has their own shape, and it's a hat. We know it's a hat, but it's just unique to you. And the Quran study is great, yes, but the Quran teaches us that. So thank you, Brother Mahdi, and thank you for everybody that joins. And JS, she's just a JS. Nah, she's also great. These are people that I've met along the way, that brothers and sisters, honestly, like they've been there with me in some rough times and some good times, and subhanAllah, God lets you cross your path with so many people with so many stories that if people with a cold heart, they might lose their empathy, but these stories remind us that we're human beings. SubhanAllah. Okay, now maybe I'm just maybe being a little too much. There's nothing wrong with music. It's like reading a book. Some books are dedicated to the crime and to the devils. You shouldn't be reading those books anyways. And there's some books that are dedicated for God. Those books are nice to read. There's some music that's dedicated to Loserville and loser identity. And there's books that are, oh man, I just realized something. And there's books that are dedicated to our music that's dedicated to God. I don't know, I've got some music on my channel if you guys want to listen. Why don't you reply to a valid? Where's your question, MK? Like, I don't see any of your questions. Let me see. MK with where's your questions, bro? What question do you want me to answer? Excuse me? Like, what? Oh, here, I'll answer this question. Nobody here is claiming that transgender is something that we should be doing. Right. That is something that came after the Prophet. So, for example, there is a rule in Tajweed in regard. There's actually a scholar that termed these things 270, 280 because he was a person who understood the Arabic language so well, and he started to perfect the letters and to add the things to make it easier to be said and to be heard. So they have a rule that after the alif, and then there's the little hamza, that the alif needs to be stretched for 4 or 5, like al-malaika, أو السماء وما بناها. So sama, you have to stretch the alif for 4 counts. But the unfortunate part for them is that there was no hamza during the time of the Prophet. So where do they get the idea of, or the rule that they have to stretch it? Well, they tell you that it's not mandatory. Okay, then who brought this if it's not mandatory? Why are you still measuring me to it? Well, it's not mandatory. You're not in trouble if you don't do it, but you should learn it. Why should I learn it? Well, because it's better for you. Yeah, but there's no hadith about ghanna, and there's no hadith about idgham, and there's no hadith about mad. Okay, but the concept of tajweed, I'm okay with that. If you want to clarify the letters for people to hear you, sure. But do I have to say it the way that you're doing? No. Can I put a little tone to it? You do. Oh, no, you can't make it sound like a song. I'm not singing it, but I want to recite it the way I find it comfortable, right? But yeah, so this is this concept of tajweed, the tajweed of saying the letters correctly, that's fine. But the rules of recitation that is also part of tajweed, like the elongation or the hiding of a letter or the connecting of a letter or the ghanna, which is almost like the singing of a letter, these are things that are not present in hadith nor Quran, none of that. Zakat, why who's banning many verses? Okay, ladies and gentlemen, we can all make our own qira'ats technically, but why would you want to at this point? I mean, it's been done so many times. For me, I like there are verses in Hafs which I won't say them how Hafs written them. So, for example, in chapter 30, I don't think it's غُلِبَتِ الرُّوم. The Romans have been defeated. I don't think that's the truth. I think it's غَلَبَتِ الرُّوم. The Romans have been victorious, right? And then after a while, the Romans will be defeated. And at that day, the believers will be happy. Like, why are the believers happy when the Christians, not the pagan Christians, not the normal Christians, the pagan Christians are victorious, so the believers became happy. And then these pagan Christians went and fought the believers. Like, that's not what I think it is. Because there is a idea where there was a battle where the first defeat for the Muslim armies was against the Romans. In Mutta, there's a battle that happened in modern day Jordan, right? And they lost. The Muslims lost. Even one of their biggest generals is technically his only defeat. They don't call it a defeat because they retreated. It was a tactical retreat, but it was still a defeat. And within, I believe, 9 years or 8 years is the first time they fought the Romans again and they won. So that verse would have been applied to that history. But to me, it's not the relevancy of the verse. To me, what God is telling me, that even when like the oppressors are beating you in this moment, there will be time where they lose as long as you're believers. And that's a promise from God because it applied to before us and it's going to apply after us as long as we're sticking to the rules of God, as long as we are presenting ourselves. For me, I believe when a messenger comes, he's also going to go through the same events. So he's going to read these verses and understand them because he says, God is talking directly. Anta, you, right? So I believe when a messenger does come, he will be understanding the verses directly. So when غُلِبَتِ الرُّوم, maybe he's talking about the West at this point. Let's say America, let's say Russia, whatever it is, for whatever the messenger is understanding from the verses. But the qira'ats to say that one is 100% correct, no. I can make mine, but yes, it would be up for contention. Up for debate because like, how would we 100% appreciate the readings at that point? it would be minor differences that can be understood differently based on the person's experience, but the remembrance would not change. Oh, I don't think he's the king of the day of judgment. I think he's the owner of the day of judgment, because ownership has more than just kingship, because he decides when it starts. Well, doesn't that mean dominion, which is a king? Yes, but God is more than a king. There's an owner at that point, because even if nobody exists, he's still the owner of the day of judgment. But a king, I guess, thinks, I don't know. Like, you can play with many things, but all right, ladies and gentlemen. Excuse me. Is this true? Did they give him the Jesus special? Please tell me that that is not true. Sunnah.com. It's one of my bookmarks now. Bukhari. Revelation. Did they actually? I don't know, man. Come on, you're pulling my leg. 3667. 3667. Okay. Wow, this was a long one. Let's read it together. Let's see. Let's see, guys. Let's try to be Sunnis, okay? Let's appreciate these books for what they are. Okay? And I mean it that way. Let's appreciate these books for what they are. But let's like edit the website a little bit. We click this thing here and do that. And let's remove this header. There's the header. Remove that. Now we get a full page. Yeah, I like that. But they have this sticky. I remove the sticky as well. Delete this. Delete the. Oh, bro, why are you doing this? Stop doing this. I want to do. Okay, this is better. All right, ladies and gentlemen, it's a little long, but let's talk. Okay, so this is Aisha. Allah's messenger died while Abu Bakr was at a place called Sun. I know this. Okay, Omar stood up and said, "By Allah, Allah's messenger is not dead." Yeah, because the righteous people want the man more than they want. Anyways. Umar later on said, "By Allah, nothing occurred to my mind except that." He said, "Verily, Allah will resurrect him, and he will cut the hands and legs of some men." Then Abu Bakr came and uncovered the face of Allah's messenger, kissed him and said, "Let my mother and father be sacrificed for you." So remember when you guys were asking me in regards to the son of Abraham who was supposed to be sacrificed, how you're supposed to let go of things? This is some nasty stuff, to be honest. I mean, whoever, even if the prophet was in front of me, let's say we shed a tear, but you can't say stuff like this. God has decreed for him to pass away. You're hating God's decree. No believer, like I can't cry when someone dies. It's just, to me, I want to die. Like a true believer wants to die because they go meet their Lord. Like that's what I believe it in. Like, anyways, then he went out and said, "Oh, oath taker, don't be hasty." Wait, oh no, sorry. You are good in. Let my mother and father be sacrificed for you. You are good in life and in death. By Allah, in whose hands my life is. Bro, every time they say this statement, they're about to lie. Okay? By Allah, in whose hands my life is, Allah will never make you taste death twice. Then he went out and said, "Oh, oath taker, don't be hasty." When Abu Bakr spoke, Omar sat down. Abu Bakr praised and glorified Allah and said, "No doubt, whoever worshipped Muhammad, then Muhammad is dead." So there was people worshiping Muhammad. But whoever worshipped Allah, then Allah is alive and shall never die. And he recited Allah's statements. Verily you will die, and they will also die. Muhammad is no more than an apostle, and indeed many apostles have passed away before him. If he dies or killed, will you turn back on your heels? And who turns back on his heel, not the least harm will he do to Allah, and will give rewards to those who are ever grateful. Guys, if I ever die, please don't anyone act like that. You should sit there and party. I'm done with this test. Like, if any of you die, don't ever act like this. Like, death is, yes, it's unfortunate, but we should not be doing this. The people wept loudly, and the Ansar were assembled with Sa'ad bin Abd in the shed of Bani. They said to the immigrants, there should be one emir from us and one from you. Then Abu Bakr, Umar bin Khattab, and Abu went to them. Umar wanted to speak, but Abu Bakr stopped him. Umar later on used to say, by Allah, I intend only to say something that appealed to me, and I was afraid that Abu Bakr would not speak so well. Then Abu Bakr spoke, and his speech was very eloquent. He said in a statement, we are the rulers, and you Ansars are the ministers. And when they said, no, by Allah, we won't accept this. He said, gentlemen, ladies and gentlemen, they started with the verse, and then they go break it. Ladies and gentlemen, here he goes. He turns on his heels, not least harm will he do to Allah, and Allah will give rewards who are grateful. He goes, no, we will not be the rulers. No, we will be the rulers and you'll be the minister. No, by Allah, we will not accept this. But there must be a ruler from us and a ruler from you. Abu Bakr said, no, we will be the rulers and you will be the ministers. For they, Quraysh, are the best family amongst the Arabs and of best origin. Okay, so this hadith is Quraysh is the best. Even though they fought the Prophet his whole life, they're the best. Umar, okay, Prophet's dead. We're going to take the power. Who? Quraysh, they are the best. Umar said to Abu Bakr, no, but we elect you, for you are our chief and the best among us and the most beloved to all of us, to Allah's messenger. So Umar took Abu Bakr's hand and gave the pledge of allegiance. And the people too gave the pledge of allegiance to Abu Bakr. Someone said, you have killed Sa'd bin Ubadah. Umar said, Allah has killed him. Nice. They went from crying to arguing. Obviously, guys, this is probably did not occur that way. I don't appreciate any of this. I don't know if Omar said this. I don't know if Abu Bakr said this. Does not sound like a healthy conversation. Sounds like a debate with hijab. God bless you guys. Do angels have free will? And the sun, the moon. Some angels have free will, right? But if they exercise their free will against God, they are no longer angels. Angels is a classification, is a label. It is not a creature. But there are creatures that are created to have the label angels that I don't believe have free wills. The Aisha debate gives them cognitive dissonance. Yes. Do you agree the way people recite the Quran? Some and some I don't. God bless you guys. Apologize, I didn't get your what? I block all the messages? Which message? How come I can read yours if I'm blocking your message? Which messages I'm blocking, please? You wanna come see my channel? Here, you know what? Let me show you. Okay. I don't know how many comments I have. Okay. But there are people that I do not allow their messages to show, which are primarily the ones that want to sit there and try to mitigate the Quran alone movement. And the other ones are the ones that want to insult the Prophet or insult God directly. Those are the two types of people that I will remove. Because one, don't want confusion on my channel, right? And anyone who's saying things that are counterintuitive, I will allow. I don't care, even if it's from the non-ritual guys and stuff. But when people want to sit there and try to bring me down by trying to point to things that I haven't said or I haven't done and try to make a problem in under the video, yeah, those people are gone because they are causing a fitna. They're not caring about the people. Do you know when the day starts and ends according to the Quran? Yeah, so the day starts at the white thread of the line and the day ends with the merging of the night at the end. So when you no longer see daylight, that's the end of the day. When you see a little bit of daylight, that's the start of the day. So here you go, ladies and gentlemen. Here's my share this tab. I don't know if you guys can see this, but here's my studio. Okay, this is the whatever studio it is. You guys see this? Okay. Now, I don't know how I can show you, but the amount of comments in content, here you go. The amount of comments that I have is quite high. Okay, so I want to go to the older videos. So no, go backwards and forwards. Pop up. These. So here you go. So we can start with this one. 3,000 comments, 100. These are nothing yet. And then now we start with the 1,000s
let's go with the shorts. That's what I like. Here you have some significant number of comments, right? Boom, 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 boom. 500. This latest one is 1,300. But let's go with the shorts. Look at the comments here. Let's go with the oldest ones and we go forward. So boom. Now we go with 1,600 comments, 1,300, 3,000 comments, 800 comments, 1,700 comments, 2,000 comments, 14,000 comments, 10,000 comments, 3,000 comments, 800 comments. Boom. 2,000 comments, 2,000 comments. So there's a significant amount of comments, right? And here's the block list. So I go to channel and I go advanced settings, I believe. No, permission maybe. No, upload defaults. Let's go. What is it? Community. There it is. So here's the block list. So from thousands of comments, these are the people who are blocked. That's it. So don't tell me I block. I actually don't block people unless if they really go above and beyond by saying something that's really, really, really dumb, really, really insulting, or something that's extremely done on somebody's behalf. I will remove you because you see the people here. Boom. That's it. That's it. These people, they constantly sat there and would insult. So I would remove you. I don't want to hear you. I don't care about you. This person here would not answer after he's sitting making videos about me. And a lot of these, look at this guy. This guy's name called Damien God. No, you're not going to be on my channel calling yourself God. You see what I'm saying? But from all the comments, these are the numbers of blocks there are. There's 70 more, 4 more. You see these names? It's not people that I'm blocking because of most of them insulting. Guys, this is not even like what you guys know. Just if I show you some things, so if I go to sort by, not published, held, okay? I'm going to show you some stuff. So both these pedophile followers should debate Sam Shamoon. I'm a pedophile follower. See what I'm saying? You can go through this list all day. There is so much inappropriate stuff that people write all day. Imagine if I have to sit here and deal with all of this. Like, look at this. Muhammad was a pedophile. Sorry, facts. Yeah, you know what? I don't like hide from the channel. I don't want to see you. You silly apostate. Why are you still clinging on to Islam? Just leave, you dirty devil. Okay, bro. Like, cool. It's like, may Allah guide all of you hadith rejectors, kuffar to Islam. Guys, there's some really amazing comments. You can't even answer how Quran, so how can you claim to dominate the debate? You see this? This is what you deal with. Buddy, you got schooled. No. How? Quranists are the most stupidest group. Then you are glorious kafir. Bro, these are like some, but some of them get like really dumb idiot. But the founder of Islam, Muhammad, was a pedophile and rapist. This. See what I mean? Like, I don't care. You do you. So, oop. Oh, I see. Thanks. Yes. Can you show how the Quran comes from God? By when I read it, I know that it's from God because of how perfect the content is. So look, so إذا تتلى عليهم وإذا تتلى عليهم آياتنا قالوا من ربنا. So how did these people, one second, there it is, 53. Nice, 28:53. I appreciate you guys being calm. Unfortunately, I'm not as good as Baba Shuaiba with pulling the verses up. He's like the first generation. Computer mind. I'm from the fourth generation. I need to look up the facts. One moment. So let me share this tab and I'll show you what the Quran states. How did these people know that it was from God? Huh? How did they know? And when it's recited to them, they say, we believe in it. Indeed, it is the truth from our Lord. Indeed, we were Muslims before it. Please,
Explain to me how these people knew that it was from God. Why is it that when the Quran is being recited to them, they're going, hey, you know what? This is aligning with what I found from the truth. And this is telling me more about the truth. And this is the truth from our Lord. I believe in it. No, hey, you. How dare you? How dare you believe in the book? You can't believe in the book. You have to believe in our people. And then you can believe in the book. What do you mean it's the truth from your Lord? How do you know? How do you know it's the truth from your Lord, huh? What gave you that idea? You don't believe in Hafs, and you don't believe in Asim, you don't believe in Abu Sulaiman, Abu Shahata, and Abu Indra. How do you know it's the truth from your Lord, huh? Because of the words, bro. Like, that's how I know it's from God. Oh, man. All right, ladies and gentlemen. Assalamu alaikum. Peace be upon you. God bless you all, and take care. See you next week, inshallah.